Welcome back, nerds, to the news. This week is stacked. It's going to be short, but it's still pretty stacked. So first up in music, Slayer has dropped some details about their one and only East Coast show, so we're going to talk about that. In movies, Minecraft, we're kind of jumping around a little bit. Minecraft has kind of obliterated box office expectations, and I mean kind of insane numbers here. Gaming and tech, the Switch 2, Nintendo is making the pre-orders a little bit more complicated than we anticipated when we talked about this last week. Also, tariffs. TV streaming, Star Wars has unleashed Cad Bane and Ventress in a brand new trailer that we're going to be breaking down. Comics section, Marvel is totally playing with fans' emotions over the situation with Rogue and Gambit. There's a lot of things going on associated there. And the rumor mill is a-churnin'. Could Robert Downey Jr. be playing more than one cosmic villain in the MCU coming up? We're going to be breaking all of that down, plus plenty more in music, gaming, tech, movies, TV, rumor mill, everything. So just sit back, grab your dubby, and let's go. For music this week, Slayer has dropped a bit of a bomb when it comes to their one and only East Coast show for the year 2025. Turnstile has finally given us some information about their upcoming record, and Clutch has thrown quite a curveball for their upcoming European tour that really was very unexpected on a couple of different levels. So we're going to get into that. There's quite a bit more in music. Let's roll. Okay, music news. We have one follow-up, and it's an interesting follow-up because it's kind of a double follow-up. It's both of the things, though, have to do with Brian Setzer. So first and foremost, happy birthday to Mr. Brian Setzer. The 10th of April is Brian Setzer's birthday. A little bit of a guitar god, if you will. And speaking of him being a guitar god, he just posted up on his Instagram that he started playing his guitar again. Super awesome. For those that don't remember, I'm pretty sure we covered it on the channel, but if, TLDR, he's been having some tendon issues in his hands, and he just hasn't been able to play up to snuff. And so he had some stuff. He's been going through physical therapy and things. Presumably, I don't think he's gone into details about what's going on exactly, but he's been working on it, and he just picked up his guitar for the first time in months just the other day. So super awesome. Very much look forward to seeing more stuff in the future from Mr. Brian Setzer. That is our only follow-up that we're talking about this week. Let's jump into new music. New music this week. The biggest one, I mean, I'm sure there were more that I missed, but the biggest one of probably the last couple months, honestly, and also the only one that we have this episode, is Turnstile. We have Turnstile, new album details, release on June 6th. The name of the record is going to be Never Enough. Pre-orders are open right now on the band's website. You can pre-order the vinyl, or you can just, do the digital version. All of that stuff can be found up on turnstile.com. So go check it out. They did release a new single. It's the title track, I believe. Where'd it go? Turnstile. Yeah, it's the title track off of the record. We'll be talking about that in That Just Happened this week. Yeah, go check out Turnstile. That's our only new music announcement. Let's roll into now some tours and festivals. Got another couple of big touring announcements this week. It's early in the year yet. It's, they want to announce their summer shows. They're into the winter at this point is where we're going. But first on the list is Breaking Benjamin featuring 3 Days Grace, co-headlining the two of these bands. Support will be from a band called Dust that I've never heard, or Return to Dust rather, that I've never heard of. It will be 21 dates. It kicks off on August 29th at Thunder Ridge in Ridgedale, Missouri, Thunder Ridge Nature Arena in Ridgedale, Missouri. Ends October 12th at Durant, Oklahoma. So that's quite a place to end the tour, but whatever. I could not find a proper list for the tickets, so I'm sure you can check bands in town or go to, I believe this is a Ticketmaster situation, so you can go check that out as well, or follow the link in the description. Hopefully they will have a little bit more information for you by the time we get there. From there, we have Blink 182 has announced a new tour. It is called the Missionary Impossible Tour. This trek out from the boys in Blink will feature Alkaline Trio as support, which, all right, is a little bit better than I anticipated, honestly, because like it felt like there was some really weird blood between Tom DeLonge, and I really can't remember the dude from Alkaline Trio that played while Tom was not in the band. So the fact that they're taking them out on tour is pretty awesome. So yeah, it'll be Blink-182, Alkaline Trio. The name of the tour, Missionary Impossible, starts August 28th in Hollywood, Florida, and it runs through October 4th in Palm Desert, California. Once again, could not necessarily find tickets. I don't know if they're available yet, but you can go check out blink182.com, I'm sure, and they'll have ticket links. Next, probably the biggest live show announcement. This isn't a tour. It's not even technically a festival. It's just a live show. Slayer has announced that they are going to be playing one and only one, at least for the year of 2025, show on the East Coast. And that show we have details for. It is going to be in Hershey, Pennsylvania, September 20th. Pre-sale tickets start April 10th. So as you're watching this, tomorrow as I'm filming this, though hopefully I'll get this episode up before midnight tonight. So either way, standard tickets will go on sale the following day on the 11th. The lineup is as follows. This is kind of gigantic. We have Knocked Loose, Suicidal Tendencies, Power Trip, and Cavalera, and then also Exodus. Cavalera is going to be exclusively performing Chaos AD, the Sepultura album Chaos AD, which is kind of like the biggest Sepultura album ever, right? Maybe not your favorite Sepultura album, just the highest grossing Sepultura album. And then Exodus is going to be performing the Bonded by Blood album in its entirety. So this is going to be a huge show. Yeah, again, links, this one I did find links for, so you can follow the link that is in the description to get your tickets. If you're going to be in the Pennsylvania area come September 20th, then by all means do this. Next up, power metal fans rejoice! We have Dragon Force and Powerwolf are going out on tour together. This is going to be across North America, so US and Canada. I don't think there were any Mexico dates in there, so US and Canada specifically. Starting September 17th in Ontario, Canada, running through October 4th at the Aftershock Festival in Sacramento, California. Once again, tickets can be found if you follow the link down in the description. This one, again, tickets are currently on sale, so go do that. Next, let's roll into some regular ass news. This week's news starts off with Clutch. This is kind of touring information, but it's like new tour. We've already talked about the fact that Clutch is going on tour in Europe, but when we last touched base on this, I'm pretty sure this was something that we talked about just the once, and then we haven't really talked about it much. When we last touched base on this, though, this was the celebration of their first record. First record came out in 1995. So it's a lot of years old. 30 years old this year. Wow. So they were going to be playing that record. Now that has changed. The band is now going to be playing a different set every night. We've heard this once before with the whole Tool situation, but it sounds like they're actually going to be doing changing it up every night. They didn't say they're going to do a completely brand new set every night. I don't think they have that much material in order to do that for the entire tour. But if you go one night and you go the next night, hopefully there will be very few, if any, repeats from one night to the next. The other thing that they're rolling into their set lists is brand new, unrecorded, unreleased music that is going to be put onto a record once they come off of tour. So they are announcing not only have they written new music, but we're going to get to hear this new music live, and then they're going to record this new music in a record that will probably be out in 2026 once this tour wraps up. So that's kind of freaking awesome. That is though what we have for Clutch. Let's talk next about Isaac Hale. Speaking of Knocked Loose, guitar player extraordinaire, if you will, Isaac Hale from Knocked Loose also plays in Inclination and X Weapon X. has just announced that he started 2 new music projects. The projects are called Everybody Dies is the one, and then the second one is Couldn't Be Me. Each project now has released a 5-song EP, which you can go stream on Spotify. The first one, that Everybody Dies, Everybody Dies is a bit of a departure from his work in Knocked Loose. Not that it's not heavy, but it's less hardcore, I guess, is the way to go with that. It's not exactly a hardcore record. So that EP also was recorded with the help of Cody Davidson on drums from Sanguisugabog, as well as Aaron and Andrew, some Polish name I'm not going to be able to say properly, Kieselowski from Year of the Knife. So it's still going to be great. It's just not going to be Knocked Loose. Whereas the other one, what was the name of it? But Couldn't Be Me, is definitely a hardcore project. So super interesting. Go check those out. That is what we have for regular S News. Let's make our suggestion this week. We're going to pivot genres just a little bit, just because, I don't know, we talk about heavy stuff all the time. There's a lot of great music out there, and one of the greatest is Daft Punk as far as like non-metal music goes, but like just as far as popular music goes. And the suggestion this week is Random Access Memories, the last record they put out in whole as a group before they retired. Random Access Memories came out in 2013. This album was a global phenomenon. Won Album of the Year at the Grammys and is definitely a modern classic. The Get Lucky song is on there. I'm going to blank on other top tracks. There's a couple of fillers in here, like the one with the German EDM producer guy is interesting from an anthropological standpoint, but like as far as like Daft Punk's catalog goes, maybe not the best track. However, this is a great album from front to back. Even the filler is better than like 80% of music you're going to hear on the radio. So that is why we are recommending you go listen to Daft Punk Random Access Memories this week for your suggestion. Gaming and tech news this week. Nintendo has thrown a little bit of a curveball for pre-orders on the Switch 2. That the information was available technically last week, but I hadn't found it at that point, so I apologize. We're going to break into that. Plus, tariffs are affecting things. Marvel Rivals is also in the news for dropping a frosty new hero, plus a pretty massive promise for future content that we have to discuss. Plus, DaVinci Resolve just dropped version 20, which is massive and could finally be the wake-up call to Adobe that all of us content creators have been waiting for. So, gaming and tech this week, we do have some follow-ups. Quite a large follow-up, as it were. What a difference a week can make. Honestly, what a difference literally just a couple of days can make, or even a single day. Because when I recorded last week's episode, I know it didn't go up until way late, and I do apologize about that, but sometimes these things cannot be avoided. However, the day after I recorded, so a couple of days while I was still trying to get the edit done, the day after I recorded is when the tariffs went up and Nintendo put a hold on reservations for the console in the States. So as of recording right now, those tariffs, I'm pretty sure, are still in place, which means that the hold is still in place. The thing to keep in mind is this does not, at least for the moment, this does not affect the release date of the console, which is still June 5th. So that is still happening. There are a couple of other things that Nintendo is doing that, honestly, I probably could have put in last week's video, but I just didn't know where the information was to be found. So I have found the information, so I'm going to be relaying it to you. So, not just anyone, once tariffs are, well, whatever, the pre-orders are live in the States and everywhere else in the world where they're live currently, not just anyone can pre-order a console. There are stipulations for pre-ordering a Nintendo Switch 2. So, the Nintendo Switch 2, there's 3, I believe, stipulations. One is you must be 18 years old or older and have an active Switch Live account that is 12 months old at least. And in the past 12 months of your account status, you must have 50 hours of gameplay. And then the other thing is you have to register it through certain retailers. You can either do it digitally through Nintendo's website or go to registered retailers such as Walmart, Amazon, GameStop, Target, etc. So why the hell are they doing this? This is an attempt, though I don't know how successful it's going to be, only time will tell that, but this is an attempt at stopping scalpers. So probably for the first little while, we are looking at, I can't imagine it's going to be as long as the last launch, as the launch of the Switch 1, but we are going to be looking at hardware shortages. This is going to be a very in-demand console, and that's just the nature of the beast anymore. So in order to curtail that and also stop people from ordering multiple consoles and then selling them at exorbitant markups, they have put these restrictions on it. So I commend them for at least trying to keep the price down, keep it at MSRP. But then there's the MSRP of $450 or $500 if you want to roll in, what is it, Mario Kart World. Then that's going to add another $50. There is a little bit of a correction here though as well, in that the $90 price tag was a miscommunication. Somebody's reading different pre-sale number in a different country that was 90, whatever the local dollars are there, and not stateside. So US, the cap on the price for Nintendo Switch 2 games seems to be right about $80. So $79.99 is where they're going to be capping. And it sounds like only some of their games are going to be quite that expensive, though the vast majority are still going to be $69.99. So $70 is still no cup of tea either. So it is a lot. And again, hopefully this does curtail the scalper situation, but we'll see as it goes, and we'll be keeping tabs. So let's move on. We do have a new trailer, actually kind of two trailers to talk about. They're both about the Marvel Rivals game, and they're both about Emma Frost. And there's a little bit more besides just the trailers to talk about Marvel Rivals too. So we'll get to the trailers first. I'm super stoked to try and play Emma Frost. She's coming out in the next couple of days. I believe Friday or Saturday is when they roll out new heroes. Go watch the new trailers, because it's like, I had no inclination to play as the White Queen until I watched her gameplay and saw like her abilities, and it's like, oh, that's cool. It looks like, and I only watched the trailer just the once, but it looks like, or the one that shows the gameplay anyway, you can like control players that are close, like you call them towards you from the other team. So if you're between a gap, very specifically this happens in the trailer, if there's a gap between you and the other players, they can't help but come towards you. They're going to die, they're going to fall to their deaths down that gap. And that's a pretty awesome, and then she's got range abilities, and like she just looks super freaking versatile. And the other thing here, besides just the release of Emma Frost, is once Emma Frost has released this season, at the very least for the remainder of this season, we are going to be getting a new hero every month. So one new playable character in Marvel Rivals for the foreseeable future. I don't know how long their seasons generally last, but it's going to last at least that long. And then they didn't give a time frame for how long, because obviously this is not going to be perpetual. They're not going to do this forever. But like, there's a lot of Marvel characters, man. So this could go for a while, assuming that it maintains its popularity. Yeah, this could be legitimately an interesting year, even like 12 new characters, 12 new playable characters in Marvel Rivals. That's kind of dope, not gonna lie. That's what we got for trailers. Let's move into some regular ass news. First up is some tech news, and that is DaVinci Resolve has just dropped their version 20. I love how everybody keeps just calling it V20. Like the V stands for something, and it's shorthand. Version 20 for DaVinci Resolve. has rolled out a lot. I mean, we're not going to get into the exact detailed breakdown of everything that rolled out, because that was like a 2-hour presentation from DaVinci, right? From Blackmagic Design, I guess is the name of the company. But like there's a lot of AI things. There's a lot of tools in here that are very practical for content creators. So if you don't do in the YouTube space, you just create for somebody else, there's going to be a lot of stuff in here that's going to help you. But also, very specifically, there's quite a bit in here that is for content creators in the YouTube space. Not the least of which is the new subtitle option, where it animates your subtitles for you, because there used to be an extension there, I'm sure there still is, an extension for DaVinci Resolve up until this point that would do that, but it was a little cumbersome. Over in the Adobe side of things, like, you have to legitimately animate each individual word. So anyone who does that in Premiere, I commend you, because that is the most tedious nonsense. That's why whenever you see subtitles on any of my videos, especially in the shorts, like, they come up as groups of text, because I am not individually animating each word. Good Lord, that is going to take me way more time than I'm going to allot for a short. So yeah, that's pretty freaking awesome. Honestly, we as a community have been waiting for this since the ability to edit with text has been a thing, which for DaVinci hasn't been super long. I think it was 18.5 was when they rolled that out. But on the Adobe side of things, like, that's been a few years. So thank you very much, Blackmagic Designs. Also, something to keep in mind is DaVinci Resolve, to an extent, is free. Like, obviously none of the AI stuff is going to be on the free portion of the software, but the free portion of the software got a bit of an update as well. So super powerful, free, and the $300 payment that you have to make to get the studio version is a one-time payment. So this, I think, is going to be the thing that, like, really kicks Adobe in the ass, and just like, we are not happy with the pay scheme of doing a yearly payment in order to access software that we should only have to pay once for. Like, if I want the upgrade, I'll give you a couple bucks for the upgrade, but like, you don't have to force it down my throat for 50 bucks a month. Anyway, I'm gonna go off a tangent if we just leave that up. So DaVinci Resolve doing super awesome things in the community. Thank you very much, people over at Blackmagic Design. And then our other piece of regular ass news is Marathon. So the new Bungie game that is launching soon had a teaser leak. Was kind of released in this weird, like, viral marketing situation that is doing a lot of really awesome things. They're over on X, just like doing super cryptic stuff that is marketing for this game. And then we finally know that we're going to be getting a proper trailer, so we'll be talking about this next week. We will be getting a proper trailer this weekend. So Saturday they will be launching a proper gameplay trailer for Marathon. I guess this probably could have gone in follow-ups, but I felt like that was kind of huge. Anyway, yeah, Marathon, April 12th is when they're dropping some gameplay footage. That is what we have for regular-ass news and gaming and tech. So, let's talk about our suggestion for the week. Mortal Kombat 1. It's a little bit of a cop-out, I realize, but I gotta be honest with you guys. Every time an episode runs a little late, it's not 100%, it's usually not even the majority of the reason why, but there's at least a little bit of a reason why the episode is late is tied to the fact that I just can't stop playing Mortal Kombat 1. It's so addicting. And T-1000 is legitimately infuriating because, like, he is another character that just is protected by his buttons, just is way too OP, and the potential future for this game right now being in such limbo just really makes me want to maximize my time with it as much as I can, because I don't know what tomorrow holds. So that's why I'm suggesting it to you, because if you haven't got in on it, it's like 65% off right now. If you go get it, you can get it for 20 bucks for the entire bundle. Just have some fun beating the crap out of your friends. I mean, I've already gotten 3 people at work at the day job to get it in the last week, so last 2 weeks rather. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Go have some fun with your homies. That is your suggestion for the week, Mortal Kombat 1. Comic books and books this week is just going to be comic books, and we really only have one thing to talk about, but it's kind of big, more on a cultural level than anything else. We're talking about the Rogue and Gambit wedding and the way things were supposed to pan out versus the way things are apparently going to pan out. And then we're going to juxtapose that with the current situation over in Spider-Man and Peter Parker and MJ and that whole relationship situation. So it's going to be a little bit of an editorial section this week, but still, let's talk some comic books. Comic books and books this week. So we have a follow-up on a situation that we mentioned in passing. I'm pretty sure we might not have mentioned it at all, but I'm like 80% certain we actually did. Rogue and Gambit got married. This happened a little while ago. In the current arc, apparently was when it was supposed to end. So I think there's a quote in here. Tom Brevoort, executive editor over at Marvel. Oh no, there's no direct quote. I apologize. Either way, it's the information comes from Brevoort himself as he's talking with the community. So, and there's a couple of things I'm going to have to paraphrase in here because I didn't put them in the notes verbatim. But so Brevoort has said that in spite of originally intending on ending the Rogue and Gambit marriage in heartbreak, so whether that means one of them was going to die or they were just going to get divorced, because I don't understand. I don't know. But there was going to be some sort of heartache that was supposed to end the wedding. Presumably sometime around this point in time with the way things are going. But Brevoort has said, I just lost my place in the notes. Seems the book sales are doing too well right now, so he's not ready to pull that trigger just yet. So they're not going to end their relationship now between Rogue and Gambit, though that doesn't mean that they're not still going to carry out these plans 6 months from now, a year from now. Eventually, we now know for sure that Rogue and Gambit are going to be, their marriage is going to be no more. So this is super interesting because we have plenty of, this has been a big fan outcry situation for a long time. Fans have just wanted Rogue and Gambit to get together, probably since the Chris Claremont days when he kind of created all that sexual tension between them. Gambit always hitting on Rogue and Rogue always shutting Gambit down. It was fodder for the cartoon. Most of us at this point grew up watching the cartoon, so we wanted to see that in our comics as well. And then we finally got it, like I think it was last year, towards the beginning of the year last year when it actually happened. And now that the books are selling well, they're like, oh, we're gonna keep this for now. Like, we're gonna do what you want because you're giving us your monies. But over on the Spider-Man side of things, Brevoort has explicitly denied that he thinks that this would create more sales if Spider-Man and Mary Jane were married again. If the what is the Brave something, the arc that basically dissolved their marriage, their marriage never happened as of that arc. There's been crazy outcry from fans for that to be undone or for them to just get married again, because that too is the way like we expect I fully understand the relationship between creators and consumers is kind of volatile as it goes back and forth anyway, because if the creator only gives the consumers exactly what they want all the time, then they'll get bored and they'll leave it alone. But if they're combative with their consumers, then they'll just stop consuming the thing anyway. So like, you have to walk this super fine line. I fully understand that, but like, we are seeing right now in the Ultimate Universe how Spider-Man and Mary Jane being married does good things for sales. Ultimate comics don't usually sell as well as 616 comics. It's just, people just aren't into the side books as much as they are the main books. Right now in the Ultimate Comics, we're seeing pretty comparable sales for the Spider-Man book where he is married to Mary Jane to where the sales are in the main universe Spider-Man books. So the fact that those two are comparable really does say something, really does mean that if we do this thing, they're gonna sell more books. But Brevoort just doesn't see it that way. He has told fans explicitly that he thinks that it is a fantasy, that sales would increase if they did this one thing. So it's super, super weird. I think the takeaway I wanted to do from this is talking with your wallet works. Protesting with your wallet works. By and large, I think that Spider-Man is too popular for it to really be noticeable for people to protest with their wallets, just because moms are going to buy Spider-Man for their 5-year-old kids regardless, and that's going to just be one of the main factors that factors into comic book sales when it comes to a character that is that popular, right? One of the big three: Batman, Captain America, and Spider-Man. Batman, Superman, Spider-Man? Yeah, Batman, Superman, Spider-Man. Captain America's in the top 5. I don't think he's in the top 3, but those three, definitely the top 3 most recognizable superheroes across the world, right? So their books are kind of just always going to sell. So yeah, that's kind of where that sits, right? Is sports not going to see the sales dip enough when they do something stupid with a Spider-Man book, because Spider-Man's just always going to sell. But when you do it with somebody that's has a little bit more of a niche following, like Gambit and Rogue, you see that spike happen. And I wish Marvel would pull their heads out of their collective asses. That's, I think, the takeaway. There we go. We'll just end this little rant there. Let's talk about our suggestion for the week. A suggestion for the week is one that might be a little controversial. Immortal Hulk, the book that happened in the 2018 to 2021. Al Ewing wrote it. Artist was Joe Bennett. The main artist was Joe Bennett. And this is Dark Hulk. This is twisted Metal Hulk. This is before things got too out of hand in the Hulk side of the 616. I know before this they were definitely out of hand for a lot of reasons, but this run was pretty legit. So I'm gonna kind of cautiously recommend this one, because I know a lot of people have some really strong feelings on both sides of it. I think this is one that's worth at least a thumb through next time you're in your comic book shop, because Immortal Hulk is good stuff. And that's your suggestion for the week. TV streaming this week, we have not one but 2 fan favorite Star Wars bounty hunters making their grand return in a new animated series we just got the trailer for. Plus, speaking of animated series we just got the trailer for, there's a new Predator animated series that looks legit. And on top of all that, we have finally some details about Peacemaker Season 2 and a little bit more to talk about, so let's get into TV. TV streaming, once again, a little small, but still a lot of fun. So let's talk about follow-ups and corrections. Follow-ups and corrections this week, biggest one, only one, Peacemaker 2. We have Season 2, release date is finally announced as August 21st, which very notably puts it after Superman. Is that going to factor into Season 2? I mean, the DCU didn't really factor into Season 1 at all, except for the last episode, the last scene, which was really just a cop-out. So I don't think it's going to affect it too much. That being said, it is James Gunn, so maybe it will. I'm kind of hoping it will, I just don't think it will. So that's all we have for follow-ups and corrections. Let's talk trailers this week. We have 2 killer trailers. First up, we have Star Wars Tales of the Freaking Underworld. This one, if only it had launched 12 hours earlier, we would have been talking about it last week. But Cad Bane returns. The show is May 4th is when it's going to be coming out on Star Wars Plus, Disney Plus. Also, Ventress is returning for this. Yes, please and thank you. This trailer definitely gave me the feels. Filoni is producing, but I don't think he's directing. I didn't catch the director, but I'm pretty sure it's not Filoni. Either way, Filoni's involved, so crossing my fingers and hoping that it's not terrible. Our other trailer this week is Predator: Killer of Killers. This is going to be Over on Hulu, it's going to be anthological, so each episode is going to be standalone, and it comes out June 6th. This is going to be more lore building in the new Disney Predator universe, which is a weird thing to say. Also, the fact that it's coming out on Hulu and not Disney Plus means that we're going to be getting some gore. There's even a little bit of that in the trailer. I am legitimately hyped for this animated series. It looks like it's going to be great. Even the mediocre Predator movies, like we're not going to talk about AVP because those are garbage, but like the mediocre Predator movies like Predators and the Prey movie, like even those are still pretty damn enjoyable. So if this is at least that good, I'm on board. And it looks like it's going to be even better than that. Or maybe not Predator 2 levels of good, definitely not Predator 1 levels of good, but still levels of good. So that's what we got for trailers this week. There is no regular ass news to speak of, so let's talk about our suggestions this time around. Suggestion for the week is Game of Thrones. I felt like a little swords and sorcery action. There's less swords, less sorcery, more swords in the original Game of Thrones TV show, though the books, whole different story. But the TV show leaned more into the practical and less into the magical, but that's fine because seasons 1 through 5 were fantastic. Season 6 was good. Don't go past season 6. Just take my word for it. It ends at season 6. That's all you need. But yeah, seasons 1 through 5 are some of the best damn live action television you're going to see in a long time, if not ever. Just the intrigue, the way that the characters weave in and out, the story plots and everything, the subplots and all of the subterfuge, and it's just really damn good. So that is your suggestions of the week. I don't know how much more I can gush about this, but go watch Game of Thrones up on Max. That's your suggestion.
Oh, hey nerds. So, just here to remind you this week that subscribing is great. You should do that. It really doesn't cost you much, and it helps us make this show happen. It also keeps me fed, so that's a good thing too, right? You don't want a dragon to get hungry. So hit the subscribe button, tell all your friends. We've gotten a lot of comments recently talking about how, people think we do a good job here, so let your friends know if that's the case, and it really helps us out even more that way. So, yeah, there you go. Either way, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for feeding me. Let's get back to nerdy things. Okay, bye.
Minecraft doesn't just build blocks, it builds empires. Well, at least in the box office, and we're going to talk about that. We got a Tron Ares trailer, finally. The grid is coming to the real world, it would seem. And speaking of the real world, kind of, weird world, I guess is more appropriate, Death Stranding. We now have information about the Death Stranding movie. Let's talk about all this and a little bit more. Movies this week, we have huge follow-up situation going on. So, huge follow-up situation is, first and foremost, Minecraft. What the hell is happening? The meme movie, apparently, I didn't realize it was a meme movie until I read a couple articles kind of breaking down the fan reaction, but let's get into who the Minecraft fans are, and then we'll get into some numbers, I promise. But Minecraft fans, generally speaking, are fairly young Gen Zers, or Gen Alpha, I think would be. Old Gen Alpha, young Gen Z, I think would be where we're at with this. And then even a little bit older into Gen Z. Get into millennials, and we're not super huge on this, but that's not to say there aren't any of us that don't play it. But by and large, this is a Gen Z and younger thing. Which apparently millennials and Gen Xers who have Gen Z children are doing a little bit better than we thought, because their Gen Z children have disposable income, and we're looking at $162 million in the domestic box office for this movie. The worldwide box office is $313 million. So it did well. Initial estimates were putting it at $45 million, and then right before the weekend, they upped those numbers to $52 million, were the expected domestic box office numbers. So if you take that 52 number and look at the 162 number, they 3 times the expectations. They tripled it. That also is higher than the Barbie movie's opening weekend. So, yeah. No narrative, just give the fans what apparently they actually wanted, because I have no idea. Generally speaking, the movies about the games that I like to play, well, I don't know, that's been a little bit hit and miss as far as like Mortal Kombat movies. 95 Mortal Kombat's great, Annihilation's kind of terrible. The 2018 movie is somewhere in the middle. And Mortal Kombat 2 looks like it's going to be fantastic, so don't get me wrong, I'm super hyped. But this did more for the fan base than I think it did for anyone else. But also the fan base is so rabid, and they have parents who they have to buy tickets to go with them because they have to babysit, but it's like one parent for 5 kids, right? But like the craziness going on this weekend, the cops were called because people were interacting with the movie. Apparently this is the way it was planned. Apparently this is just, I'm just as much of a loss as the analysts are, because I had no idea. I did not see this one coming. There was not anything positive as far as like fan reaction that I saw pre-release, but apparently it's because the stuff that I saw was dealing mainly with people in my rough age group. So millennials didn't really see the point. Gen Zers didn't care to share that they saw the point because they all went out to see it. Anyway, there's a couple other things in these notes. Oh, my speculation too about the preview of Superman being one of the reasons it might see a bump. I don't think I was accurate. I think that, yes, that might have been a motivating factor for some of the parents, but it seems that the fan base for this movie just did not care that Superman was there. They were there for the movie. So that's kind of awesome, I'm not gonna lie. But so it would seem that Warner Brothers and Legendary did right for this one, just barely edging out Barbie's $700,000. So they did $700,000 more on their opening weekend than Barbie did. So that's $750,000 roughly. Wow. This is just huge. This is just insane. I can't even, I think one of the big takeaways from this is I'm pretty sure that the Minecraft movie as it's being built is not any sort of narrative nonsense. They're not trying to inject any sort of like political, socio-political message in there like they did with Barbie. So that should be a good takeaway. Just give the fans a version of what they want. Subvert expectations can be good, i.e. Jack Black as whatever the main guy is. Again, Minecraft over my head. But like that was unexpected, and fans kind of were critical of it from, again, what I saw. But now I'm hearing that Jack Black does great as the lead. So yeah, really crazy situation going on here. And I heard in multiple places that people are just calling this the meme movie because apparently that's what the kids want. So give the kids what they want and the money will follow, I guess. Next up, follow up on Thunderbolts. We have tickets going on sale now. May 1st advanced is when the first showing is, so that's the Thursday advanced showing. I don't think they're doing super well. I've seen a couple of preliminary numbers and they're not meeting expectations. We'll follow up on this one again next week just because like that's kind of where we're at with this, but like tickets are on sale. If you're interested in Thunderbolts, go get them. But it would seem that they've been on sale for a couple of days now and nobody is doing it. So next up, Death Stranding is our other follow-up. Death Stranding, we have an interesting situation here. So we have Michael Samosky is going to be writing and directing. You might not know that name, but Samosky was a co-writer on A Quiet Place Day One and that Nick Cage weird, crazy pig movie. He was the main writer on that one. So I don't think this is his directorial debut, but it might be. I'm super intrigued by that pedigree. Like, that is very interesting. So, Death Stranding movie takes one more step forward. That's what we got for follow-ups, though. Let's talk now about trailers. We got 2 great ones. Tron Ares. This looks like it might be making up for the sins of the father and trying to meet with the greatness of the grandfather, I guess, if we're continuing that metaphor out. Tron 2 did poorly. Tron Ares, based off of this trailer alone, looks like there's going to be a much more solid and captivating story. It really looks like The Grid is coming out from the digital world into the real world. And go watch this trailer and tell me I'm wrong, but this looks really stupid interesting. Like, I might see this one opening weekend. Like, I mean, I dig the second movie just fine. I love the first movie. But like, I didn't think that little bit of like a history with this was going to be enough to motivate me to opening weekend. I think I'm going to opening weekend, guys. So that's where we're at with Tron. The other big trailer that launched this week was the final trailer for Mission Impossible Final Reckoning. If you weren't already going to go see this, maybe watch this trailer. It might change your mind, but why would you not? Why would you not go see the final Mission Impossible movie? Like, it's going to be a spectacle. If for no other reason, then it's the final Mission Impossible movie. So that is what we have for trailers. No regular ass news to talk about. Let's just talk about that suggestion this week. We're going with Dark City, baby. Dark City came out in 1998. This is science fiction, horror, fantasy, a little bit of everything rolled into one, and just incredibly intriguing. So let's do, I wrote up a little elevator pitch. It's a mind-bending sci-fi thriller set in a city trapped in perpetual night, controlled by shadowy figures who literally reshape the city and everyone's memories while they sleep. One man accidentally stays awake and starts unraveling a terrifying conspiracy about human identity. It, again, was released in 1998, and because of that, you're going to see a lot of things in here that were definitely liberally borrowed, let's say, by the Wachowskis when they were making the first Matrix movie. They owe a large bill here. Plus, there is also a new 4K special edition DVD Blu-ray coming out that is going to be worth a look if you do dig it. If you want to watch it without investing in the brand new special edition, then you're going to have to pay a couple of bucks to rent it over on Prime or Apple TV, as I could not find anywhere where it was streaming for free outside of a streaming service called Canopy that I'm unfamiliar with. So that is your suggestion of the week, Dark City from 1998. Merch time for sales. All right, so we are doing a merch push. It is now April, and that means we are gearing up for our first special shirt design. It's going to be more than just a t-shirt. I'm going to actually probably put it on stickers and a bunch of other things. So here is your big design. It should be up on screen right now. For those of you that are listening only, I apologize that you can't see it, but go check out the YouTube or the Rumble, whichever way you want to go, because the show goes up on both. You can go do that, and the shirt design is not live yet. It will be live by the beginning of next week. So by Monday, what is that, the 15th, I believe? By this coming Monday, the design will be live. I think I'm gonna do it for 2 weeks. So we will have 2 weeks for this exclusive shirt design, straight from Generally Nerdy. That's me, and this is the best way to help support the channel. Buy the merch, support the show, tell everybody that you get your news, your entertainment and nerdy type news from this place, and that is the best thing you can do. You know, subscribing and all that stuff is great as well, but like actual monetary support is very welcome, because I would like to not have to work a day job as well as doing this, because that's like 80 hours a week of work and it gets a little maddening. But I do it because I love it, and I love and educating and entertaining and doing all this stuff. So go check out the merch store. The link is down in the description. Still don't have a proper URL for it just yet, but I'm working on it. I'm getting there. I need to get the couple bucks it's going to cost in order to maintain that, and then we'll be there. But either way, merch link down in the description. You can see the shirt design here. It will be live come Monday, so be prepared. And yeah, super excited to offer some exclusive merch to the viewers, and I guess we're getting back into the show now. So merch, show.
Maybe. It's classified.
All right, let's get that rumor mill a churning, shall we? We have word on who might be directing the next Bond movie, and it is quite an interesting name attached here. Also, Sean Levy's rumored, still technically, Star Wars movie might have just found its villain in a very familiar face. And then there's a weird situation going on with Robert Downey Jr. and the MCU. Is he going to be playing two cosmic villains? Are they rolling two cosmic villains into one? We're going to get into that and a couple other rumors, so let's do this. All right. So we have no confirmations or refutations. We have no new sources for old rumors. We just have new rumors to talk about. First one is a Molecule Man rumor. So Robert Downey Jr., congratulations, he turned 60 over the weekend. And the Russos posted a picture of the party, and he's got a little bit of a weird look to him. His hair's gone quite akimbo, if you will. And there is implications in the text of them wishing him a happy birthday, as well as the invitations, I believe is where some of these images come from, that seem to imply, and this is a weird way to get a rumor, but wow, does this kind of heavily imply that Robert Downey Jr. to some degree is either also going to be Molecule Man, or they're going to be rolling Molecule Man into Doctor Doom, or there's something to do with Molecule Man in Doomsday, and like, that's just bonkers. I am going to potentially be the first person to say I don't buy it. I think this is just the Russos and everyone around Downey having fun. I'm going to put this one at 30% that there's going to be any sort of Molecule Man direct. Will we see him as a cameo? Will we see him in the background to some degree? Maybe. Will he be a major player? I really don't think so. So again, 30% likely that Molecule Man is really going to be in the MCU. The next rumor is Fortnite. Apparently there is now a rumored Fortnite movie, because since Minecraft did so freaking well, we got to do every free-to-play game, right? So Fortnite is the next one on the bill. This is actually comes from a couple of different places that are decent as far as their reputation goes. Also should be noted that Disney owns, or is a shareholder at least, in Epic Games. So very likely, if it happens, it will be a Disney release, which they're looking for a couple of W's right now. So kind of playing in its favor a little bit, though I still think that 50% is as high as we can go with this one. We're going to split the difference, because there is, even though it does come from a couple of good leakers, like, it still feels like grasping at straws, or even more likely just somebody kind of shooting off at the mouth with an idea that they had that isn't actually going anywhere. Next up, James Bond. Woo! I almost said John Wick. James Bond. New rumor about who is going to be directing the first Amazon Prime James Bond movie now that they've bought it. That rumor is Alfonso Cuarón. Cuarón, I'm pretty sure it's an O-N. If you should recognize that name, because he directed at least one of the Harry Potter movies. I think it was the third one, Children of Men and Gravity, just to name a few. He's an Oscar-winning director, going to potentially direct James Bond. This is super awesome. I want this to happen. That's probably why we're going as high as we are with the percentage. We're going to say about 70% likely that Cuarón is going to be the one directing the next James Bond movie, because that just sounds like fun. And then our final rumor for the episode is a Star Wars rumor. Sean Levy, still in development Star Wars movie that still technically is rumor. I don't think they've actually confirmed that it's Levy. They have confirmed there are a number of projects in the works. They have not confirmed that it's Levy. I could be wrong on this one, but I don't think I am. But assuming that that part of the rumor is true, that is accurate anyway, which we have every reason to believe it is, the rumor now is that they have found their villain, at least the actor that is going to be playing their villain, and that actor is Jesse Plemons. Jesse Plemons, you will recognize his face because he kind of looks like Matt Damon, but also he was in the Civil War movie that just came out. He was in Black Mirror. He was the villain of the Ulysses episode that's getting a sequel in the new Black Mirror season, amongst other things that he's been part of. But those are going to be the two biggest ones that you recognize him from. That's cool and all, but like, assuming that I'm not missing something, this is still technically a rumor based on a rumor. And when we base a rumor on another rumor, then we can only go so high with the rumor we're currently talking about. Since it's still not 100% confirmed that Levy is doing a Star Wars movie, we can't assume anything else is going to be 100% accurate. So 50% is as high as we can go, and that's as high as we're going, because I just don't feel comfortable. As much as I think that would be great, I think he does a really good villain, Plemons. I don't think we can go any higher than that. So that's what we got for rumors this week, nerds.
Subscribe. That is all.
Which puts us into housekeeping. Housekeeping this week. It is time to reveal. We're a couple weeks out yet, so it'll be, I think we have 2 more episodes before this happens, but there's going to be 2 weeks, the last week of April and the first week of May, where we will be without show. There will be no news those 2 weeks because I will be attending my niece's wedding, and then I have other family obligations that following week, which are absolutely going to just destroy my ability to do an episode. So hopefully I will be able to get a couple of things pre-recorded, or we'll do a nerdy exclusively suggest video, something along those lines, so that we're not going to be completely without content. We just won't be covering the news. So that's kind of what's going on behind the scenes, the housekeeping situation. And also, thank you very much, nerds. If you have not yet followed or subscribed or done whatever, you hit the Rumble button, whatever it is, then please do that. Share this show with everyone you know, because that is the way that these things grow. Oh, look at that, I rhymed and I, totally tried to. But yeah, share the show with everyone you know, because that is legitimately the only way that shows like this can get up off the ground anymore. Algorithms are not great for algorithms are not great for discoverability these days. Even the Rumble algorithm does better, but still isn't great. So yeah, thank you very much, nerds, for joining me. If there's something that I missed that you want to cover in the next episode, be sure to leave a comment. If you just want to tell me I look like shit in this Mortal Kombat hat, then there's a comment section for a reason. Go do that. I appreciate your faces, nerds. We will see you next week. Before we go, always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.